Hello, so in the last video I talked about if your operating system is Windows, you will then have to download and install the Windows Subsystem for Linux and Ubuntu onto your Windows machine to create a Linux environment. Once you've done that, you can then download and install the get-cfd module under the Linux environment. So in this video I'm going to show you how to set up the Linux environment following these instructions here. Okay, so these instructions are given by Microsoft, and they've provided two routes to set up the Windows Subsystem for Linux, WSL. So the first route is simply file install, and the second route is menu install. So here we will follow the menu install instructions. So let's click on it and go to the relevant steps. So here we can see that the first step is to enable the Windows Subsystem for Linux. So to do this, you will need to open PowerShell as administrator and run this command. So to open PowerShell as administrator, all you need to do is to type command prompt in the search box, and then right click on it and click on run as administrator, or you can just click on run as administrator here. So let's do that and click on yes. So now it's opened the PowerShell for us as administrator. Now let's copy and then paste this command to the PowerShell by pressing the Control and V key on your keyboard, and then press enter to run this command. Okay, so here it says the operation completed successfully. That was quite fast. I believe now we can close this window and then move on to step 2, which is to check the requirements for running WSL2, which is short for Windows Subsystem for Linux version 2. So here it says to update to WSL2, you must be running Windows 10. So presumably, if your Windows system is an older version, you probably won't be able to run WSL2. You'll probably have to run WSL1, which is not really covered in this video. So the next thing we have to check is to make sure that your Windows build is higher than these build numbers. Okay, so first of all we need to find out what the system type is. So it could be x64 based or ARM64 based. So to find out what it is, we have to open a Windows Explorer and then right click on this PC and click on properties. So here it says system type. So here we can see that my system is x64 based. So by doing the same thing, you can find out what your system type is. Okay, so because my computer system is x64 based, I have to make sure that my Windows build is higher than either of these two versions. Okay, so here it says that to check your version and build number, select Windows logo key plus R on your keyboard to activate run, and then type winver and then click on OK. So here we can see that my build version is 19041, which is higher than 18362. Okay, so that means I can I meet the requirement for running WSL2, and I will do that. So obviously, if you're running Windows 10 but your build is lower than any of this, you will have to update your Windows version if you want to use WSL2. So to do that, click on Windows Update Assistant. Okay, it seems quite straightforward here. All you need to do is click on Update Now, which we won't do here, but I assume that it's probably a very straightforward process. Windows will probably do it automatically for you. Okay, so let's move on to step 3, which is to enable virtual machine feature. Again, to do this, we have to open PowerShell as administrator and run this command. Okay, let's do that. Search for command prompt and click on run as administrator. Click on yes, and then copy and paste it here by pressing Ctrl+V on your keyboard, and then press enter to run the command. Again, it says the operation completed successfully, and it was quite fast. That's great. Let's close this. Okay, so here it says restart your machine to complete the WSL installation and update to WSL2. So for demonstration purposes, I won't do it here, but please do restart your computer after you've finished the first 3 steps. I think the whole process will be quite straightforward and quite easy. I think Windows will do it automatically for you. So all you need to do is to restart your machine. Okay, so now let's move on to step 4, which is to download the Linux kernel update package. Okay, the first step is to download the latest package. Let's click on this link, and it will start an automatic download for us. Let's open it once it's finished downloading, and then double clicking on it. Okay, so it's already finished. That was quite fast. Right, there's nothing else for us to do, is there? Okay, great. Let's move on to step 5, which is to set WSL2 as your default version. So obviously, if your operating system is older than Windows 10, which doesn't support WSL2, or you don't want to use WSL2, then we can skip this step, but we will do it here. So open PowerShell as administrator again, click on yes, copy and paste, pressing Ctrl+V, and then press enter. Okay, here we can see that there is no information saying it's been installed or it's been executed properly, but there is no error messages either, so we assume that it was successful. Okay, let's close it. So the next step now is to install your Linux distribution of choice. Okay, so we can see that there are a few distributions here, and because the GetSafety model has been tested on Ubuntu 18.04 LTS, this is the one we will be installing today. So let's click on it. Okay, it's free, great. Let's click on Get, open Microsoft Store. It might take a while. Okay, let's click on Get again. Oh. Okay, great. It says just got installed. Take a look. Okay, let's click on Launch. Okay, here we can see that this window looks very similar to the PowerShell window, but it's got a different title. It says Ubuntu 18.04 LTS. Okay, so that probably means Ubuntu has been installed and we are actually using it at the moment. So once you've installed it, the first time you use it, you will have to create an account for yourself. Okay, so that's my username and that's my password. Type it again. Okay, so it says installation successful. That's great. So I won't show you how to use it because it's a whole new area in terms of what commands you can use in the Linux subsystem. For example, you can use ls to list what's available at the moment. So obviously there's nothing because it's newly installed. Let's try to make a new directory by using the mkdir command. Let's make a directory called test. So a directory is basically a folder on a Windows system. Okay, let's type ls again. So here we can see that a new directory test has been created. So basically that's telling us that the Windows subsystem for Linux as well as Ubuntu has been installed properly. Okay, so that's probably everything I wanted to cover in this tutorial. In the next video I will show you how to download and install the GAD CFD model under the Linux environment using Ubuntu. Okay, I hope you found that useful.